without getting like too graphic, because like whatever you guys are comfortable with, I have a lot of women write in of just like being in situations that you're not comfortable, but not knowing how to speak up for yourself, and basically being kind of pressured into doing something that you almost can't even comprehend until you have time away from it. Bridget and Holly, talk to me about just like those moments that like as a woman, you didn't know you were expected to have sex with this man or do all of this. Like mentally as young women, where were you at in just this experience with this situation sexually?
I feel like I was just so in over my head and so drunk that first night. And like, it's not like I didn't know that sex was going to go on upstairs, but I thought, well, this is my first time out with them. Who has sex on the first date? I'll just go up and like see what's going on. Yeah. But I was super wasted and, you know, shit just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, I full on knew that was going to be expected, but I too thought, well, the first night though, like surely I can just be like, oh, it's the first night and like get out of this. And I didn't even want to go upstairs the first night, but then I was pressured by another girl who said, if you ever want to be invited out again, you better get your ass upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah, there was another girl who we call the recruiter, and there were different people who like functioned as the recruiter over the years. And it's just interesting how these men who victimize other women often have like a woman, like a Ghislaine Maxwell type that will go out and get the other girls and make them feel comfortable or pressure them. Harvey Weinstein had people like that too.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
It's like they make you feel like you actually have no choice, and it's like woman to woman, like let's go, let's do this, and you're kind of like I guess it's almost like the biggest bully that like leads the charge, that if you say no, you're completely done, and it's like you don't have a minute to think for yourself. When you say you knew you had to do these things, did like girls say that to you?
Well, I had been hanging out long enough that I knew what was going on up there, and I'd heard all kinds of rumors of what happened in the limo. And when Hef asked me the first time to come out, I said, oh, I've heard what happened. and I don't want to do that. And he was like, oh, and he just like laughed it off and was not offended by that.
Yeah.
So I knew that was going to be expected of me. And I put a lot of thought into that because it wasn't something that, like, I wasn't promiscuous. I didn't have like a lot of people that I had been with. That wasn't something I was like excited to be doing.
Can you talk to me, Bridget, about like after that first night, what were you going through?
Torture in my own head that very next morning. Like, I felt ashamed. I felt disgusting. I felt like I really let myself down. I felt really lonely. And I'm in a house where there's like a lot of people, but I'm like, oh no, I feel so lonely and feel so gross. And I have to get out of here. Like, I have to get out of here right now.
And then what happened?
Then I still had an apartment. Like, I wasn't living at the mansion yet. And I went back to my apartment. And then that afternoon, the mansion, like the social secretaries called and said, Hef wants you to meet tomorrow and go, or tonight, and go to the Craig Kilborn show with him and all his girlfriends. He's going to be on it and wants you to do that. And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like kind of exciting again. Wait, they want me to go to the Craig Kilborn show? Like, what? And so then I go on the Craig, and then not only am I going to like sit in the audience with Hef and everybody, but they have all of us girls shooting a skit backstage. And the thing we have to do is go, hi, I'm Hef's girlfriend. And the next person says, hi, I'm Hef's girlfriend. Hi, I'm Hef's girlfriend. That was the skit, like not a big deal or anything, but like all of a sudden you feel like you're a part of this this thing, you know?
That's so interesting too, to be like leaving in a moment for women. And I think that's the most annoying when people are like, well, then why did you go back? Why did you go back? Like, I feel like that's such a common thing, whether it was an abusive situation where it's like, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you go back? That's so common, not just even to this situation, which I appreciate you guys talking about this because it's a larger conversation for women of like, why didn't you leave? Why did you go back? Talk to me about that, of how like explaining to people that are fucking idiots that don't get it, it's like, it's not that simple. Like, clearly you had this like, oh my God, there's this feeling of this man is so much, there's power and there's things that come with this, but the sexual aspect of it, like, did you ever become okay with it? Did you just disassociate?
Well, now it's the point where I've done it now. So like now if I leave and I just throw this all away now, like I did it all for nothing.
And you
like,
feel like
no
everybody
way.
knows, right? Because that's kind of your social circle too. Like, I felt like my two roommates had like moved away, and right before I moved in, like this was the mansion community, it was a place I like went every Sunday for the pool parties. And I felt like, oh shit, I just went upstairs and had sex. Like they're all going to talk, like they're all going to know. So I might as well get what I came here for, you know?
Can you guys talk to me a little bit about that of like, because it is sadly so relatable, Bridget, of like what you guys are saying of like, I already did it. Like it's even, I think when women are in a situation that's like, well, now he's hit me twice, but like he's not going to do it again. And then when it happens again, you're like, but that's the last time. Like you rationalize in your mind because you're kind of trying to survive through this shit. Once you just kind of threw yourself into that world, did you guys ever have moments by yourself in those rooms to be like, what is happening? Who am I? Like, am I losing myself?
We would definitely vent to each other about certain things, but a lot of it I feel like was deflected for a couple years because there were 7 girlfriends. A lot of them we didn't get along with. There was a lot of bullying and things like that. And I didn't recognize it at the time, but looking back, I feel like he kind of like encouraged that and kind of, it's like you keep people, it's like divide and conquer. Like you keep like 2 sides divided, then we can't all meet up and be like, you know what? We should see if he'll like give us extra money for this or else we're not going into the bedroom. Like he doesn't want that happening.
I'm curious to know because obviously like you guys experienced one of the biggest. Like what do you guys think drives controlling men?
Insecurity. Like you would look at someone like him and think he has no reason to be insecure. He's so successful. He has so many women around him. He throws the best parties. But that man was so insecure. It was insane.
I think he was really afraid of dying alone.
Yeah, and so he's like, I'm gonna have 10 girlfriends at all times, so I'm not alone. Wow.
Or and not even just dying alone, but just being alone at all. Like if somebody, he didn't even want to let us to go home for the holidays. So, and he, at some points he had like over 7 girlfriends.
Right.
And,
You're like, bro, also like we barely talk. Like let's keep it, like come on. Like after you guys got out of there, like did you find yourselves, like talk to me about your dating patterns. Like after that, did you have like an aversion to like men in positions of power? Were you still attracted to men? Like what was your type essentially?
Well, for me, I went straight into another relationship that mirrored the Playboy relationship in some ways and got out of that very quickly. And that was kind of like a gift in a way that it showed me that this is a pattern. This isn't just anomaly behavior because this man was in a position. This is something that any man can do if he wants to. So luckily, I was shown that very quickly and realized what I didn't want. And then I just dated kind of casually for a couple of years. And then I met the man that I married and had kids with, and I'm divorced now, but I'm in another relationship that I've been in for 4 years. So
amazing.